Hi everyone, Ms. Winters here. We are getting ready to read our first novel, and I'm really excited. Persepolis, The Story of a Childhood. This is a graphic novel, which is really another way of saying a comic. Now, before you go, what, a comic? I'm a big comic fan. I want to show you a few of mine before we get into this. This is a series I collected for a long time called Fables. It's really good. This was based on Stephen King's Dark Tower series. Little Daredevil, I had a crush on him for a long time. Iron Man, my husband's favorite because he's an engineer just like Iron Man. I don't know what this is. Oh, 30 Days of Night, really gory vampire series. Dark Knight, this is from the 80s. And my absolute favorite series ever is Sandman by Neil Gaiman. And I have all of these. These ran for several years and I have all of them. I have a pretty expensive habit there. So I've tried to cut back, but at least I get to read this with you all. Now I'm going to share my screen really quickly, if I can remember how to do that. Oh, we love, where's share screen? Okay, I can't figure out how to do it. Hold on just a minute. I guess when I click on the big thing that says share screen. There we go. Okay, let me share this. I put together a little presentation here for you all, and what I'm going to do is put this, I want to work, slideshow from beginning. I'm going to put this on our Google Classroom so you all can look at it, but I just want to go through this really quickly and just talk about how to read a graphic novel. So this is a different edition here. Actually, this book was originally in French, and this is the French version. So that's why everything's in French. If you speak French, you could go back and read it in the original language. That would be very cool. Okay, so if you have the book, turn to page 3. If you're looking at the PDF scan that I put on our Google Classroom, it may be a different page, but just look for this picture here, the veil. That's the first chapter. Now notice the simple lines, very simple lines in each frame. This is very, almost kind of choppy, very straightforward. And if you keep looking at it, you'll see that the gutters, now the gutters are the spaces between the panels. And a lot of times people don't really think about them too much, but the gutters are actually narrative tools in graphic novels. They guide you from one part of the story to the other. And sometimes the writers and artists get very creative with the gutters, and they actually use them to help make a point or a rhetorical statement about the story. At this point in the story, everything's kind of predictable, and I think that's one reason they use this visual, like this regularity. The story it's kind of a backstory at this point, starting with when the girl started having to wear the veil. Now watch for the changes in the gutters as this story progresses, and ask yourself these questions. You know, at what point do y'all notice changes in the gutters? What does the artist choose? Why do you think the artist chooses to alter these gutters at this point in the study? And look at those and think, what kind of emotions do they provoke? Now look, we're going to look now at the captions. The captions are these boxes at the top, the rectangles at the top. And then look at the second panel where the author, this is an autobiographical book, so the author is sitting with her friends at school, and read that to yourself. Look at their faces and look at that caption. You have to read the caption along with looking at the pictures. If you look at the second panel, I already said that, I'm sorry, I was redundant there. So look at the significance of this caption here with the rest of them. This caption is identifying them by name. And then we get into a bigger theme of what was going on in the country, the new rules, the changes, and how the girls are reacting. And I want you to think about the idea of foreshadowing. If you remember from middle school, foreshadowing is when the writer hints, gives clues of things that are to come. So there's a lot of foreshadowing on this page if you take some time and go through and pick out all the different things that are being foreshadowed or predicted on this slide. Moving on. Okay, now look at the third caption here with this dark panel, and ask yourselves these questions. I'm not going to read through them. You can read through them. Take your time and look at that and ask yourselves these questions. Think about symbolism. Think about emotion. Think about contrast. Okay, I'm going to move on. You can always come back to this later and hit pause if you want to look at that for a while. Okay, so in comics or graphic novels, dialogue is usually put in bubbles, voice bubbles, speech bubbles. So you can see the contrast in the shape between the narration and the speech. So take your time. If you want to pause this here and look at your book or look at this on the screen and read what is being said against those captions in the rectangles, and then look at the actions that are happening in these panels. Okay, so on your own, look at the context of the various panels. I want you to look at pages 8 and 9 in the written book. Now, again, I'm not sure on the PDF if it's the same, but I'll flip over there and hold it up to the camera here so you can see it. Here you go. Where's my camera? This is when you see her in bed talking to her friend, which is what she calls God, her friend. Now, this was very controversial. I mean, it still is controversial because traditionally in Islam, we are not supposed to draw pictures of prophets or of God. So that was very controversial, that Marjane Satrapi drew this image. But the point is that's how she imagined God when she was a little girl. But anyway, read through that, and I want you to think about her ambition to be a prophet. Think about her concept of God and religion and their place in the world and how the world was supposed to run according to her mind at this point. Okay, that is all. It'll be awesome if you all can do this before class. You can let me know if not, and maybe we can go through it during the asynchronous time, close to the end of the period. But please do familiarize yourself with how to read a graphic novel, how to read a comic before we start. All right, see you in class.